Hello, my friend. It's Collrane or Collrane Tarot here on YouTube. My pronouns are they, them, and what we're going to get into this morning is a beautiful relationship reading for you. I haven't done one of these in quite a while. I believe it's been over a year, so I'm ready to readjust my focus and bring you some beautiful messages from your spirit guides about a very significant or potentially confusing relationship in your life at this moment in time. So what I want you to do is to begin to get into a meditative state. Close your eyes if you can, or just focus in on this visual portion of the video and really allow your breath to drop into your body. Breathe deeply, allow your shoulders to drop. Let your anxieties teach you, not consume your thoughts. Allow any thoughts to leave your mind and allow spirit to come through and surround you. And of course, set the intention that it's the spirits that have your your most loving intentions in mind. The spirits of wisdom, the spirits that you have allowed to guide you through this lifetime. So I'm going to introduce the piles. We have here pile 1 with this bloodstone tower, pile 2 with this labradorite stone, and pile 3 with a piece of petrified wood. So when you're ready, I will see you in your pile. Greetings, pile 1. If you were drawn into this bloodstone tower, we're going to start getting into your reading about what's going on with a significant relationship. So yes, usually readers will do this specifically for romantic relationships, and you can definitely use it for that reason. I'm expecting quite a few people to use it for that reason. So if I am presenting a card or talking about an energy related to love or intimacy, please interpret it for the relationship that you have intended this reading to be for. So if I'm talking about love or attraction, this can mean on a less romantic or in a less romantic sense of the word, that this person has been attracted to you by natural means of, like, law of attraction, things like that. So I don't want, anyone to get really confused or concerned about what they're hearing. So please, use your intuition and your discernment. But let's get into the reading, because I got so many more cards in this reading than I have, I think, ever gotten in a pile before. So I really wanted to jump right in. So these cards here from the Weaver Tarot, these are going to describe more in depth about a specific situation in the relationship, but I'm actually being drawn to kind of start the reading with a card from my deck that I created called Apocalyptic Theater, and this card is going to give us the state of the relationship at this moment in time. And we have the Royal of Air, and I'll show you this card. So the Royal of Air, this is an interesting card to get for the state of your relationship at this time. I am picking up on the fact that some of you may be in a situation where you really had to make peace with your own thoughts over this situation. I'm feeling like for a lot of you in the past, you may have had racing or obsessive thoughts concerning this connection, or it may have felt like a lot of what was going on in this connection was taking up quite a bit of your mental state. There's something here too about potentially you may be quite physical with this person, and not in an inappropriate way, unless that is relevant to the situation. But there's something here about movement tied to the connection, where you and this person may do certain activities together, or have done certain activities together related to, like, moving the physical body. And so there's something here about your physical momentum that's tied to this person. And for some of you, this is going to be much more in a metaphorical sense, that you and this person really need to be able to synchronize your your day-to-day movements or something about that. There's something about, yeah, I guess just that word synchronizing. It's like, you know, when you see someone in the Olympics, they do the synchronized diving. That's kind of how, like, the energy that I feel here, and it's more in a metaphorical sense. So I hope that that makes sense to whoever it's meant for. Sorry, there's something here with the throat too, because this person is blue. That blue color is just really standing out to me. So there's something here about learning to communicate in genuine and honest ways with this person or through this relationship. For some of you, it's because you've been holding back what you want to say. It's interesting because the Hermetic principle that I assigned to this card is to stay silent. And that's the challenge for this character. And so it's almost like there's an imbalance within the silence, the silence to talking, or you've gotten it. There's going to be, I guess, two groups here where, sorry, the throat is just really bothering me right now. But on one side, some of you have really mastered the art of communication with this person, or you're getting to the point where you're doing that. And on the other side, for some of you, there's going to be an imbalance in the communication where it's almost like one person is relying too heavily on the other person to initiate communication, or potentially initiate more like depth of communication as well. And so I am feeling for the majority of you who are watching this video, there's something here where your guides are calling you to go into meditation and ask deeper questions about the nature of this connection. So let's move into, I guess I'm going to go into the Weaver Tarot. Sorry, my throat is really getting triggered by this energy, but that's okay. So, okay, this set of cards is depicting a deeper look into a specific scenario in this relationship. We have the Three of Wands in the reverse, the Chariot, the Strength card, and the Seven of Cups. So immediately what I'm picking up on is that you and this person may not be on the same page when it comes to the future of this connection, with the Three of Wands here in the reverse, followed by the Chariot. There's something here about someone wanting a certain directory or forward movement within this connection, and the other person is either just not in agreement with the lifestyle required to take this next step, or they're not emotionally or for some of you it's financially mature enough to make this, good Lord, make this step in their life. Sorry, I'm gonna take a drink of water. It's like really bothering me. And I was not feeling this way before your reading. So there's definitely something here. A lot of you, I wouldn't be surprised if one of your cards here from the Sacred Geometry activations, because it does have chakras in there, I would not be surprised if the throat came out. I definitely think if you have something that you need to get off your chest about this connection, or a feeling or an emotion, even if it's not a fully materialized thought, when you start to allow that floodgate to go, there is going to be a release of energy that has been building up for you for some time. Because I'm feeling the energy that some of you are really holding back for fear of what you anticipate this person wants, especially with this energy starting to come out, and it's really bothering me in the throat. There's something here about needing to be very clear about what you desire in the future of this connection, and your spirit guides are really pushing you in the direction of communicating honestly and openly, because it's going to get you to communicate honestly and openly with yourself about the expectations that you have for the relationships that are forming in your life. Yeah, the Strength card here, I feel like, is kind of contrasting this Chariot card, and there's a reason why these two are in the center of the reading. The Strength card is showing that there is an emotional reality with this moon here that's being suppressed to appear strong, to appear like somebody who can handle whatever's being thrown their way. For some of you, this is a business partnership where you are withholding a certain amount of honesty about what you feel you can contribute to the situation. Holy cow. I'm so sorry, pile one. It's just the throat is being triggered for me in this reading. My goodness. And you know what's funny? The Strength card is usually connected to the energy of a lion. And the lion has a strong and powerful voice. The lion does not have to, talk all the time. That's the thing. So for some of you, you're worrying that it's been too much time for you to speak your truth or speak your mind on the situation. And what Spirit's saying is that you need to release yourself of this burden. And allow this other person to be able to engage in the conversation, because right now it almost feels like it's unfair. It's like you've withheld a certain amount of information from this connection. Either that or the other person is withholding something. And so it's really important for you as the person who's becoming conscious of this message to create a level playing field where there is the ability to have this conversation, or at least open it up so that honesty can be something that's brought forward, especially with the Strength here. Strength to me is just so much clarity coming through in this situation. And in a deck that I use quite often, this card is actually talks about emotional stability. So there's something here about bringing through emotional stability in this connection. The Seven of Cups on the end of this scenario, to me, it feels like it's interesting because it feels like there's some foundation or foundational aspect to this relationship. Like for some of you, this might be like a first or second date, or a really significant like hangout between you and this person. For others of you, this could be like a trip that you took with this person, some kind of gathering in some way, like if you were doing like networking with this person, if this was like a business partnership or a really significant event that you put on. There's something here where the Seven of Cups is signifying to me choices and decisions that were made at this moment in time. They revealed a deeper truth that this person couldn't communicate using their words, especially with this card being the only emotional card that came out. And the Seven of Cups can talk about, illusions. Sometimes it can be about lying or having multiple options in love or romance. So there's just something here where I feel like this energy is coming from the other person involved. The eye that's surrounded by like a crown of thorns looking over the cups, it's like their own wounding is really limiting their ability to show up with you in this situation. For some of you, it feels like this person is very limited in what they feel is a potential option or choice in this connection. So what you can do by opening up a conversation is actually redirect this situation, because I feel like the state or the nature of this connection, being the Royal of Air, shows that there is great potential for communication. It's just more about finding the balance in how this person, everyone communicates different ways and has a different comfort level when it comes to communication. And so for you, Pile 1, I feel that you're actually genuinely a good communicator. It's just there are certain things that you're learning to refine in this area of your life, especially when it comes to taming and managing the thoughts that you give validation to within your own mind. So, again, that throat, my goodness. I swear I don't think it's like a health thing or anything. It's really just activated in this energy. But yeah, let's look into these cards here from the Sacred Geometry Activations Oracle. These are talking about something in your own spiritual practice that you can address to make progress in this connection or understanding a deeper level of this relationship. So we do have a chakra card here with it, which is the heart chakra, which is connected directly to the throat chakra. So it may be that there is a blockage in the heart that is manifesting in an inability to communicate, and then also clearly see and recognize patterns or truths within this situation, talking about the third eye and the crown. So for some of you, if you are feeling like it is difficult for you to ground your understanding, whereas this person, you know, they're putting their head on the floor, talking about grounding that conscious connection to spirit, this is giving you the indication that you will be able to very clearly assess what you need to do in this situation as soon as you ground yourself, because you have the Gaia card here, and connect into that heart space. For a lot of you, I feel that this relationship in general has awakened your heart chakra, and when that happens, there are a lot of really difficult things that we need to address in terms of our soul, in terms of what we truly want within this lifetime, and also in terms of what we feel we are meant to do within this life. So there's a lot of really heavy energy connected to your own understanding of yourself related to this relationship. So I'm going to read to you what's on the bottom of both of these cards. The frequency of the heart chakra, the green flower of life, supports our capacity to love deeply and unconditionally. Its healing properties harmonize the mind and the body. For some of you, I'm getting the message that in order to find unconditional love in this situation, you're going to have to accept the other person exactly where they're at and not try and change their nature or what they are presenting to you. Even if it is something that's really difficult for you to accept or not what you would have originally envisioned for yourself, it's really important for you to get to the point of deep and radical acceptance, because that's what's going to help your heart chakra to feel safe being vulnerable in this situation. The Gaia card here says, the frequency of Gaia reminds us that we are infinitely connected to one another, just as we are to our great mother and to the universe that birthed us all. So yes, just as much, I feel like for some of you, you're very connected to your relationship to spirit, or, you know, the otherworldly type of aspects of spirituality. But something that's really being drawn in at this time is your connection to the earth plane and getting comfortable being embodied. So for some of you, if this is a relationship where I was talking about earlier about being physical or having some kind of physical connection, this is a really essential part for you, especially if you have gotten confused after you've had physical interactions with this person, to really turn around and on your own ground that energy that you've received from this other person, especially if touch barriers have been broken between you and this person. Yeah, so that's what I'm getting. I feel like doing those grounding exercises and connecting to the heart, that's going to really open you up to being able to communicate with your own higher self within the situation as well. So let's get some final messages. These are perspectives on the situation from your spirit guides. And again, we have this heart and we have the grid of the earth plane. So these, I feel, are connected to these two cards that we got from Sacred Geometry. But I wanted to give you a moment to just look at the images, pick up on any intuitive messages you're receiving already. We have the lotus energy here, so there's something about rising from the depths. If there is a complicated past in this situation, there is the ability for you at least to choose rebirth at this moment in time. So let's look at what they say on the back. I'm going to leave this one down actually while I read this one. So we're reading this one. It says, luminescence. When we journey through life from our hearts, it illuminates the darkness. Illusion drops away, and we see what is real. Consider the parts of yourself you may not be accepting. You may be experiencing inner dissonance due to what you are trying to push away. This card is about self-love, deep, compassionate, unconditional love that brings you into wholeness. Luminescence means essence of light. Nothing shines like a heart emanating with love. You can shine through the... Good Lord. I literally was just talking clearly and then my throat chakra interrupted this. Sorry. You can shine through the shadows most gracefully when there is no fear within. Accept all your shades to allow more light and love inside and out of your world. That was so synchronistic. Holy cow. So it's just interesting that this card is talking about acceptance. And what was I saying about being able to be vulnerable is when we accept. And I was talking about accepting others, but I feel like this card is expanding and showing you that your spirit guides want to bring through from their perspective that you need to accept your own needs first. That may be why you're prioritizing or wanting to buy into certain lies or certain, I don't even want to use a word as harsh as lies for some of your situations, because I do feel like for some of you, it's not like this person's intentionally lying. It feels like they're more being indecisive, and so it's hard for you to see the truth of what's going on. It just feels like there's some kind of like running in circles type of energy within this connection. So when you tap into your heart space and your heart frequency, that's when healing in this relationship can begin and you can actually make progress. I'm sorry if you hear any like rustling in the background. My rabbit is just kind of going crazy, like right behind the reading. He's like trying to dig at the ground and do all sorts of fun things. So we're going to read this card as the final message, and then I will close out the reading. So this says, Mount Shasta. Aware Lemuria would be destroyed, its people traveled to other parts of the globe. Mount Shasta was one place they journeyed. There are tales of unusual phenomena and multidimensional beings living inside the mountain. This card is about origins, and the image is the seed crystal. This deck is based around. Okay. Honor and look more deeply into your ancestry, both your bloodline and your etheric lineage. Do you have an affinity with any star beings? Connecting with them might allow you greater insight into your traits, your strengths, and challenges. The sacred places you feel attracted to may have an intuitive message for you. And so I feel like this is definitely connected to that Gaia card, because it's giving another dimension to this message and saying from your spirit guides and potentially star beings, if you are connected to any, that there are certain places where the frequency is going to open you up to certain frequencies untapped within your own body, within your own physical form. So there's something here, especially like I said before, if you did go on a trip with this person, maybe thinking back to what kind of energy was held within that place that you visited, and if you can, going back. So for me in my life, when I've had complicated relationships, it helps for me to return to certain places that I've gone with those people in order to like rewrite the story or connect with what that place was trying to tell me about that connection, although I'm on my own when I return. So yeah, and finally I am drawn to this flower of life kind of symbol that showed up in both of these cards. So I do feel like for you, it may be helpful to either place that symbol on your altar or put it in front of you in a meditation so that you can find some kind of clarity. But that's all I'm seeing for you, Pile 1. I hope that this brought you some kind of support or guidance within this journey, helped you to meditate on this connection and find some real and practical ways to move forward through this relationship or situation. So I'm sending you all my love, Pile 1, and I want to send back your energy to you and call back my energy to me as we close this reading, thanking both our guides for bringing this together and all other forces of the universe as well. I will see you in another group or in another reading altogether. Bye, my friend. Hello, my group 2. Welcome to your relationship reading. If you selected this labradorite, I hope that I can get it to shift for you. This one, for some reason, has a bit of difficulty being picked up on camera, but it has such a beautiful rainbow labradorite shift, and that's honestly something that I don't see in many labradorite crystals. I feel like they tend to go one way or another with their color shifts, but you have a unique energy supporting you today. So when I was getting into your reading, Pile 2, I went into a bit of a meditative state to invite your guides to bring through some kind of message for you intuitively as I began the reading. And what your guides brought to me was papers, like kind of like this, like almost diagonal from each other on a table, and one set of papers was facing this way, the other set of papers was facing this way. So it's like you and another person were bringing papers to a table and setting them in front of you, in front of yourselves, but also in front of each other. So for some of you, this can indicate that there are legal things involved in this relationship, or contracts that have been signed. So, you know, it doesn't have to just be within a relationship, like a romantic relationship. This can be, you know, friendships or business partnerships or even family relationships where something like this is involved. So with that documentation message, there's something here where if there haven't been physical papers that have been signed, there's some kind of soul contract that's involved. And that is going to be the case for a good amount of you. I feel like a lot of you, the energy just shifted. You're like, oh, yes. So let's get into the cards, because I got quite a few cards here today, probably more than any other pick a card reading I've done in the past. So this card is from the deck that I created, titled Apocalyptic Theater. The information on this deck is in the description box if you're curious. But this card is Petra Cubica. This is the 4th Arcana, and it's interesting because this card depicts us being able to make conscious decisions about commitments that we go into, and also listening to the higher guidance of spirit. So it's interesting, for some of you, I felt a hesitation or a reluctance to be in this connection. There's something about your human self that wants to not be involved in the connection as deeply as you are, or there's some kind of regretfulness involved in this situation. I'm just not quite sure what this means quite yet, but I feel heavily that sense of almost like a responsibility to the connection, and this card's representing, sorry if I didn't say this, the state of the connection. So there is something kind of strong and established about the connection as well. But it almost seems like this relationship is under trial. I wanted to say like going through trial, but it's under trial. And again, that's going back to that legal situation. So, man, okay. I think I want to get some more cards. This card here is from the Sacred Geometry Activations Oracle. This card's representing what you can do. Hold on. Okay, we're going to get back into this. Sorry. This card's representing what you can do in your own personal spiritual practice in order to see progress in this relationship. And so something about that, I just had to take a step out. The first group was really activating my throat chakra, and it was starting to happen again in your group, but I feel that I needed to take a time out, get some water, and clear my throat and make sure that everything was okay. So there's something here about potentially needing to cleanse your energy of past situations and past fears that may be keeping you from that full commitment to the relationship, because every relationship is going to have its difficulties. There's just something here about, I feel like there's a fear that's preventing you from exploring the connection deeper, or trusting what's going on. So and labradorite can help us through times of transition, especially at a soul level. So I'm feeling like a lot of you, there's something here about you having this transition into understanding yourself on a deeper level through your relationships, and that is really scary to you at this time. So let's get into what this card says. So in regards to your spiritual path and your spiritual practices, what you can work on in order to bring this relationship into a place of harmony or flow is to awaken or strengthen your perception. So let's see what this card says. It says, the frequency of perception supports our natural curiosity, moving us beyond our comfort zone to find the edges of what we perceive as real and take a good, hard, deep look at it. So yes, that's why I'm saying it's funny that I had to bring through that message of fear. Also the message, I feel like since I did have to take a step out, it's like being able to take breaks from this relationship in order to ease yourself in. We have this paradigm that exists within the human consciousness that sometimes encourages people to be all in. You know, when we find somebody that we're interested in or a relationship starts and we feel drawn to it, it's like, you know, boom, like people expect you to be, you know, ready to commit after a very short period of time. Or there's like this kind of normalization of almost like obsessive type of energy, or just an energy that's almost unhealthy. And I feel like you feel the pressure. This is like an invisible pressure to be committed for the amount of time that you've been in the relationship. And what Spirit's bringing through for you at this time is saying, you know, change your perception, shift the way that you view the situation, and allow yourself to take your time to adjust to something like this, especially if you feel like you're ready to be in serious relationships, or you're just a person that's very sensitive or very I feel like for a lot of you, you're very protective over yourselves. And so there's something here where allowing you to shift your perception into a place of not only allowing yourself to be softer and more gentle when approaching relationships on that front, but also not giving your fears the powers that right now I feel they currently hold over your ability to connect with others, especially. And so also for some of you, your perception of the relationship needs to shift or be just changed in some way, because I feel like for some of you, this is a smaller group of you, but some of you may be almost idolizing this person or seeing them as perfect, and that therefore you're emphasizing your own flaws and using this person or this connection as an excuse to perpetuate some kind of I wanted to say self-hatred, but it doesn't feel that intense. It's more of like self-criticism, or an energy of wanting to be like down on yourself. So yeah, shifting the perception of your own inner mind is going to really help you to balance the situation and also create a more healthy foundation for this connection. Because right now I feel like your foundation that you've been relying on has to do with your own fears, and also need for control, because sometimes this fourth arcana can talk to us about our desire for control, or the control that we feel we need to take in order to see the relationship move forward. Yeah, so definitely reevaluate your relationship to control in this situation. So hold on, somehow I lost your cards. Oh, they ended up like across the room. So yeah, there's something here about like just being scattered, or also having almost like roadblocks come your way to give you the, like, to force you into pausing and collecting yourself within the physical world. Because for a lot of you, I feel like you can get really worried about being swept away or swept up in a situation, and what this relationship is teaching you is actually the ability to slow down and prioritize that within yourself. Because I feel like for a lot of you, you may like quote unquote like lose your head in a situation, and you don't want to do that in this particular scenario. So these cards here are from the Weaver Tarot. These are going to give me an insight into a very particular situation that has been on your mind in regards to this connection. And so I'm going to read them out and then start to interpret. So we have here the Four of Coins upright, the Five of Coins upright, the Seeker of Swords, and the Nine of Swords in the reverse. So I'm almost feeling like there's a split, and this side is going to be your side, and this side is the person in question or on the other side of this relationship. And if it's not a person, you know, sometimes I've interacted with relationship readings with the intention that I'm asking about a certain situation that I have a relationship with. So, you know, take it as it resonates, of course. But this is the other party. So over here, I'm going to actually create a little bit of a separation or a distinction. So over here we have the 4 of coins and the 5 of coins. So this is a kind of leveling up, but I feel like for a lot of you, this is more about talking about your fears again. So the 4 of coins can talk about our desire to protect ourselves and also protect our resources. So for some of you, if you did have relationships in the past where there was a financial element to the romantic relationship, or for some of you, if this is a business partnership, there's something here about not being able to get your worth and also giving a lot to the connection. So maybe somebody was financially dependent on you, or you were financially dependent on someone else, and there's just a fear here surrounding being dependent in general on another person. I hate to break it to you, but because we are human, we are dependent on things around us, especially material things. Think about the fact that you need to eat food every single day. You're dependent on those people unless you're growing and entirely your own food, which I doubt that most of us are doing at this point in time. You're dependent on other people to bring you those resources. So there are going to be ways in which you can work with those fears to be more comfortable about dependency through these more mundane things. There's also a monetary aspect in order for you to think about those dependencies as well. So that's an interesting message. But what's really drawing my attention in this card, this 4 of coins, is the roses that are on this card. And the roses are crossed to almost show that there is a level of enjoyment, I feel, between you and this person, but that's not always the focus. See where the hands are? They're focused on the resources and the materials that are almost like being suspended or being held together in some way. There's some like web that you've been trying to weave in terms of your own manifestations, your own prosperity, your own abundance, your own success within this life, and the goals that you've always wanted to achieve. But it's like you're holding this back from the love that is potentially offered within this connection, because I feel like this person almost feels a little hurt from your attitude and from your withholding in some ways within the situation. The 5 of coins here, I feel, talks about because again, here it goes from all these things that are together and then the rose petals merge with them. So usually this card can talk about feeling left out, kind of self-sabotage in some ways, or being kind of destitute. But I feel like on one hand, that's your fear. On the other hand, what the card is actually depicting is commingling, a merging of all of these beautiful aspects of the situation. Because if you'll notice, the images in the circles have changed, whereas over here they're bones, there are crowns of thorns, there's I almost wanted to call that a needle, a nail. Well, there's all these things that are maybe more potentially dangerous housed and held back within this one. When there is freedom to let go, when there's less of a grasping or a holding on to the situation, there's a lot more freedom that happens. So for some of you, you're almost afraid of freedom. For some of you, there's this also quite possessive nature that's housed within you. If it's not having to do with possessing your own material safety and freedom, there's a fear of, if you don't approach a relationship in a possessive way, if this is a romantic connection, that the other person is just going to leave you. And so what you're being called to do at this point is to address, again, your perception on a situation. You know, if somebody wants to leave a situation, that means that they aren't meant for you, right? And so there's something here about, you know, the hands are being able to see. And so what does the hands being able to see mean? Your ability to enact change or have some kind of control, because hands can represent our control again. And I'm being drawn to the hands in this situation being in the prayer formation. So maybe your control is going to be connecting with spirit in this situation, because I don't feel like you can really gain control over another person. We can never control what another person is doing, honestly. All we can do is communicate our perspective and even communicate our fears as well. If we are, you know, really plagued by some kind of fear-based energy, because I feel like for a lot of you, I'm really fighting off this fear-based energy this entire reading. And that fear-based energy is leading to confusion. Sorry, the throat again. I don't know. I guess maybe for your pile too, there is something that needs to be communicated. If not with the other person, with yourself. There's a recognition of what's truly going on that needs to be addressed. On this other person's side, I do feel like the Nine of Swords is talking about a private experience. This person may really be confused and have a lot of challenges related to their mental health that may be influencing what's going on in this situation. In general, this person may feel kind of stuck, or feel like there's some kind of like doom in the relationship because of your attitude. They're maybe interpreting this as being like you're not interested, or you're not like giving enough in the relationship, so they may think that, yeah, again, it just goes back to, I really feel like this person may be interpreting you as not being interested, or that the challenges that you're facing may, in their mind, cause you to give up on the relationship. Because do you see how these roses that are depicted over here, while they're, crossed and maybe showing some kind of challenges that you may be having in regards to expressing love, they're being stabbed in this one. And they're also stabbed in the eyes of this skeleton, the skull. So there's something here about this person feeling that maybe the love that was at the beginning of the situation has maybe the potential for being lost, or maybe they're worried that it has already been lost. So there's something here about quite a lot of fear-based energy on their side as well. But I do believe it's in response to some of the situations that have happened between the two of you. But on the other side, what they're kind of presenting towards you is the Seeker of Swords. And this is, I believe, depicting some kind of like dove or a bird. This bird feels courageous. It feels like it's trying to find new life. So I do feel that this person has an attitude of wanting to seek the truth in this situation with the Seeker of Swords. This person wants to have a very open and honest conversation with you regarding what's going on. And I also feel that they really want to shift your perception if they have been noticing that fears or mental health challenges, or these can be, patterns related to our own mental health or our own conditions mentally. So there's something here about this person really wanting to clear the air between the two of you. And bring in some more harmony. So I want to bring in these final messages from your spirit guides to give you more of an indication of their perspective on the situation and some potential routes you can take. So you got 3 cards. They all have a message on the back. So I'm just going to read them, maybe give you some final messages or interpretations from my intuition, and then we're going to close out the reading. So these are from the Beyond Lemuria Oracle. And we're gonna start with this card over here, which I believe is the Ether card. So it says, Ether, the seamless, unspeakable. This illuminated space of no distraction and pure potential is beyond the threshold. It is the centered and present place where all dreams are birthed. From here, you can choose where to go. What may be perceived as endless nothingness is the illuminated eternal. The core that all fears may be peeled back to. I'm going to repeat that. What may be perceived as endless nothingness is the illuminated eternal. The core that all fears may be peeled back to. Step through the darkness and realize it is only a short distance from the white void at the center of creation. Herein lies the feeling you may have been striving to meet, yet subconsciously running from. In graceful surrender, know you are held and drop deeper into existence. Wow. What a confirmation from your spirit guides. Thank you, spirit guides of Pile 2. Thank you so much for bringing that card through in particular, because this, I feel, sums up exactly the energy that I was pulling and picking up on from your side of the situation. So, wow. Okay, this is the second card, and I believe this is Furred and Feathered Friends. Yes, so Furred and Feathered Friends. Animals are intuitive, sacred beings and the wisdom keepers of many earth traditions. They are some of our most loving companions and have much to teach us. Yet the treatment of some species is appalling. As our empathy expands, we see other beings and the quality of their lives as interconnected and equal to our own. We may be inspired to align our actions with our compassion to minimize the harm we do to the planet and her inhabitants. This card also signifies energetic bonds. You may have a greater awareness of the wisdom of the animals you encounter and their meaning for you. So I'm feeling like for a lot of you, this is indicating that there are animals that are closely tied to you and this person that may represent core aspects of both of your soul frequencies. So I'm thinking about that this sloth. It was one that really stood out to me when I first saw this card. And I actually know somebody that really, I feel like they would consider a sloth to be one of their core totem animals if you resonate with that kind of energy, or for, I don't quite know the history of the totem, maybe I shouldn't be using that word, but because I try and, be sensitive about those kind of things, but I do feel like in any case there is an animal spirit that is a part of both of your souls and represents something that's going on. And for this other person, it may be a bird, since we did have that bird come through. But just in general, even if that message doesn't resonate, birds, I don't know why I just wanted to say birds. Okay, birds may be a significant symbol for this relationship, but also animals in general that appear to you at certain times when you're thinking about this connection or trying to approach working through certain things. They definitely represent, messages from spirit, as well as I'm being reminded that there are animals that are present within the original card of the state of the connection. So let's read this final card and then we will close out your reading. So this card is full spectrum. Step out of the black and white mentality of good and bad. Honor the full spectrum of life and see through fresh eyes. When we judge something, we create a story around it, and often these stories are limiting. Over a lifetime, we subconsciously gather so many of these stories. Create a space of no story for miraculous healing and crystallizing new paths. This space empowers us to know our truth and be all we are. Embrace creation in all her colors, including the raw, muddy, earthbound shadow parts of a situation, to determine whether your stories are limiting your perspective. Let the compost of the challenges you have overcome feed new shoots and blossoms. And you know what's so funny to me? I'm feeling like this relationship or this situation could potentially be very queer in its nature. Especially with that card. And there's something here about not allowing past relationship paradigms to influence the way that you approach or expect this relationship to unfold. So for a lot of you, you're going to be really breaking down some expectations that you have. Even if you're not a queer person, that's okay. I just wanted to include that and bring that in if that is the truth for some of the viewers in this pile. But there's also here just this idea where, we're breaking down those expectations and those roles that we expect people to play out within a relationship. And if we've never done that, that can be a really scary and unknown aspect of a situation or a relationship for us. And so it's time, really, Spirit's bringing this through to say it's time for you to let those fears go, to allow for you to really find comfort in the fact that you're being guided through this situation, even if you have a lot of confusion or unknowns in the situation. And it's really time for you to allow yourself to learn how to be a conscious creator within your relationships and get out of the catastrophizing energy for both of you, to learn that there are going to be days where you're in between, being elated and being sad, and that it's okay for you to explore those in-between states within the connection and realize that doesn't mean that, things are all bad or all good. there's a opportunity here, I feel, to really find that even middle ground and learn how to build a foundation from there, where, a foundation like the Petra cubica means, it means cubic stone. What that gives us is the indication that there's no flexibility in a cubic stone, and that actually might be helpful for you at this time, to not feel like there's fluctuation in the origins or in the root of this connection. So that's all I'm seeing for you, group 2. I want to send so much gratitude your way, so much love your way. I want to thank all of our guides who came through to support this reading, to bring us some clarity and guidance today. And I want to thank every other force in the universe that also contributed to this expression through this reading today. So thank you so much. I'll see you in another video, my friend. Bye. Hello, group 3. I am so excited to do your reading today, and to be able to deliver to you some beautiful messages from your spirit guides in regards to a significant connection in your life. So I'm sorry if the audio just had a little bit of bumping noises. It was just me adjusting the microphone. So you chose this petrified wood that I always think is in the shape of a bear. So there's something here about, like, honestly, the energy for your pile is very different from the first two. There's something here where I feel like a lot of you really need the confirmation or the affirmation from Spirit that you're in the right direction in regards to a significant relationship. So for some of you, I'm feeling that this is going to be a parent-child relationship with that bear energy coming out. For others of you, this is, more of a romantic connection, I feel like, for a good majority of you. And for the other side, because there's still a couple stragglers, I'm feeling that this is more of a friendship, or somebody that you're just very comfortable with in general. Maybe even for some of you, like a family connection where they're older than you. So yeah, the petrified wood is quite an ancient energy. This is, the experience of a tree that has turned into a completely other material. It's not wood anymore, it's stone. So that's why I'm feeling maybe that family connection, or whoever this is, maybe somebody that you're married to, or somebody that does feel like family in that sense. So if that is not your relationship with the person that you're asking about, maybe try and check a different pile. But that is definitely what I'm picking up on. I also feel that this pile's energy is actually the most healthy in a way out of any of the groups. Like, the relationship is, you're much more confident and comfortable in that connection for the majority of you. So we're going to start getting into the cards so that I can get more confirmation besides my intuition. And these cards are from a deck that I created titled Apocalyptic Theater. And these cards are going to represent the state of your relationship currently. So we have the Knight of Earth. Here, I'll lift them up a little bit. The Knight of Earth. And the Ingenium Solare card. So Ingenium Solare in Latin means the solar genius. And this is the 14th Arcana. This is a court card. So interesting. Right off the bat, I am feeling that the Ingenium Solare card is giving me the indication that there is some kind of healing and mirroring that's been happening in this connection, where this person represents to you an aspect of you that you are learning about or needing to unearth. This card in my deck represents the 3 days in the tomb that Jesus spends. My deck is focused on the life of Jesus, but it's not a Christian deck. But yeah, it represents that stage in the story. And so for me, the way to interpret that is our ability to understand life after death, and reconcile with ourselves on a soul level. So there's something here where this person, especially with this Knight of Earth coming out too, this is talking about the shadow self and being able to face the shadow, or face the more unaccepted or unintegrated aspects of ourselves. And we have even the eclipse energy on this card too. So yeah, there's interesting. It's almost like the pain that this relationship has caused you is for purpose and also for soul healing on both sides. So for a lot of you, I feel like that's why you're here at this reading, is because it's not quite clear for you whether this relationship is good or bad. But all you know is that you have gotten to a point of deep acceptance for this connection, and that's honestly what's allowing it to heal. I also feel that the personal choices that you've been making for yourself behind the scenes have allowed for other personal choices on the other person's end, and vice versa. So personal choices that they've made have influenced you to make personal choices for your own healing. So yeah, I'm trying to see if there's anything else that I'm picking up on in this card. I'm being drawn down to the mushrooms. So I feel like this relationship has gone through quite a few different cycles. There is some history here to this relationship for the majority of you. And there's something here where this relationship has kind of had to feed on its own decay. So, you know, things haven't been perfect in the relationship, but there's definitely been a strong commitment to the movement forward of the commitment or the connection. So, honestly, like, even though there is a lot of challenging energy presented in these cards, there is something here about some hopefulness in terms of moving forward in the future. I also feel like this card represents the person that you're dealing with on some level, the Knight of Earth, and shows that this person may be kind of slow moving, or there's somebody that's really reliable in a sense, even if there are certain things that have happened in the connection in the past where you had to kind of question their reliability. I feel that for the majority of you, this is something that you very much know to be true about this person in some capacity. This person also, I feel, is somebody that's very focused on bettering themselves, and this may be related to their physical health, and for some of you, this has to do with financial health, or just their relationship health in general. This is somebody that on a very mundane level is very focused on bettering themselves through the physical manifestation of their spirit in the physical world. There's somebody that I feel like surprises you often, or they have a very concrete personality in general, but when push comes to shove, they do end up surprising you with the things that they'll bring forward. They're very, these things that they surprise you with are very much aligned with their personality and who you know them to be at their core, but it's almost like they have this aspect to them that's a little bit shocking, or they like to get a reaction out of you in some ways. So yeah, there's something here about this person just also, I feel, genuinely wants to be entertaining, make people around them see the beauty. This person may be very committed to bringing beauty around them as well, or they care a lot about I don't want to say aesthetics, because it doesn't really feel like that. It's not like shallow or anything. It's more like they care about the quality that's around them at this point in their journey. Yeah, so this person might get you kind of nice gifts, things like that. So this card here from the Sacred Geometry Activations Oracle is representing something that you can do in your own personal spiritual practice to move this connection forward in a positive way, or help you to make some progress. And we have the card of Magic 31. It says the frequency of magic supports our intrinsic ability to grow and expand beyond this moment, to move toward possibilities and expressions that are as grand and profound as we can imagine. All that is required is our belief in their manifestation. So it's interesting because while I was reading that, I was being drawn to Sagittarius energy because this card is ruled by Sagittarius. So there's something here about making goals and both of you wanting to actually achieve them. And kind of holding each other accountable for achieving these goals within this lifetime. And I feel that that's part of why there may be some kind of, I guess, confusion in the relationship at this point, because your goals may be different, or the way that you hold each other accountable for these goals may also appear in very different ways. So the magic here, talking about your ability to grow, there's something here about being able to harness your own magic. And even here we see like a magician's hat, a magic trick in kind of unfolding, the shadow being a part of that magic. So there's something here about both of you being able to integrate. Oh, that's beautiful. So this might be you and this might be the other person, but look how both of you have a shadow aspect in front of you. Here it's depicted as a devil. On this side it's depicted as a literal shadow. So there's something here where you both are maybe facing a part of yourselves that you need to integrate and also then turn around and present and communicate to the other. It's interesting because the bear hibernates. What happens in this card is the 3 days in the tomb, which is kind of like a hibernation. So there's something here where you may be in a separation, or there may be some kind of break that's happened between the two of you, or maybe you had a break in the past in the relationship, some kind of disagreement that forced you to have to take time out or time away from the relationship. But what you're doing at this point is re-healing and reintegrating, and so it's important for you to continue to honor the parts of you that you feel have been underrepresented or potentially forgotten or suppressed in the past within this connection. And what the magic card is saying is that you can actually perform your own rituals or your own find your own connection to your inner magic in order to allow for space for this aspect of self to emerge and be brought forth. Yeah, there's something kind of esoteric about this group. So you may be somebody that practices magic, or there is a magical element involved in this relationship. So if there was any magic that was performed on the relationship, I would say that it's good to be transparent with the other person about this and allow them to consciously like opt into that if possible. I just don't personally believe in like love magic, things like that, but I do think that there can be ways that you can perform like certain glamour magic on yourself to attract what you desire, or to get yourself in the vibration or the frequency that allows you to bring more love in. For example, something that I'm doing that's small right now is burning jasmine incense. Jasmine is known as an aphrodisiac. It's something that inspires a frequency of unconditional love, and just brings us into that state of feeling loved and accepted. So there's definitely that kind of option that you can take too with this. So these cards from the Weaver Tarot are going to give me as a reader a deeper insight into a specific situation in this relationship to help you to address that at this time. Okay. And I'll set the other final oracle cards to the side while we look at this. So we have here the Ace of Cups, the Two of Swords, the Eight of Swords, and the Two of Cups. So air and water energy going on in this group. The Ace of Cups is in the reverse, and the Eight of Swords is also in the reverse. So it's almost like the beginning of this relationship felt inevitable here. But it's like both parties were unsure why or how to merge your energies moving forward. So it's almost like we had to trust the intuition to guide us to this point in the relationship. For me, when I've been in relationships, sometimes there's a feeling of like something looks wrong, but it feels right, and that's what I'm getting from this group. It's almost like there were like angels or spirit guides that kind of brought you together and pushed you towards being interested in the connection. But now that we're there, it's kind of like we're so different. How are we going to reconcile these differences? And that may be why both of your shadows have appeared. There's some kind of aspect of self that feels almost rejected by you in order to be in contact with this person or in this connection. And we don't want to hurt each other based on these differences. So the Eight of Swords here in the reverse is showing that both of you sometimes feel like there's not many options or not a way out. Or you also both may feel quite disconnected from spirit, so you can't ask for the guidance that you were receiving in the initial spark of the relationship. The Two of Cups being on the end, actually, I feel is a very good omen in terms of where you're headed, because I'm feeling like despite the miscommunications, there is a desire to be together. There's a desire for harmony, and there's a desire to make things align. Because do you see how we have these moon shapes that are crossed over here, and then over here they are lined up with one another, and they're illuminated. So there's something here where we want to mirror each other in positive ways. But what needs to happen first is this ability to get things right on an individual level in the private realm of both of you. So if this is, like a parent-child connection or a friend connection, there's something here where we need to give each other space and also allow for the other person to self-define. If you're in a personal, like romantic relationship, I'd say that the advice is the same, but there's also something here about letting the other person know that you are committed to this connection and that you know that you need to work on certain things. So taking accountability is really going to help this relationship move forward. Because I feel like if there have been tense situations in the past, not enough accountability has been taken on one or both sides. So there's something here about releasing these limitations or limiting beliefs about what this situation should look like or where we should be, and allowing things to unfold in their time, especially since this person is in the Knight of Earth position, whereas you are in the Ingenium Solari position. The Ingenium Solari person seems like they want to move faster within the connection, or there's an impatience here because there's an impatience with their own shadow self, whereas this person is just maybe frozen by their shadow and feels limited by that shadow and doesn't feel like they can do anything different. What you both have in common, though, is the idea of being stuck or trapped in a limiting or self-defeating attitude about your own challenges in this lifetime. And so what you actually both can teach each other and learn at this point is how to liberate yourself from a challenge. And what this person, I guess what Spirit's trying to bring through is, since you're somebody that may do this quicker, this person's going to need some help potentially, or they may need more of your patience to get through, because the Knight of Earth is a very slow moving energy, whereas this is, an eclipse. This is something that happens quicker. And that's why I think your magic is something that can potentially help the situation. Yeah, so I think that's kind of good. We're going to look at the final 3 messages from the Beyond Lemuria Oracle. I'm going to read all of these upright, and they all have a little message on the back. So I'm going to lay the other 2 down while we read this first one. I actually don't know what this card is, so I'm excited to see what it is. It looks like an angelic being, huh? So maybe an angel is helping you. It says, Air, paradigm shift. This is a time of tremendous change, and the speed of our evolution is increasing exponentially. We can build energetic sovereignty, inspire others, connect dots, and receive and share the knowledge and tools needed for transformation. As we wake up, we can't help but awaken those around us. It may start with an inquiry on what this fresh, new, and long-awaited breath in is all about. An expansive being holds a tiny heart-shaped seedling. When the foundations we build on come from a place of love over fear, we will see huge positive changes in the world. We can start with ourselves. So yeah, maybe calling on angels of love, angels who can, I'm thinking like Archangel Shamuel for this one, to really help to bring your vibration into a vibration of love, helping you to really connect in with the heart. Archangel Raphael can also do this as well if you're interested in working with archangels. But yeah, I feel like this is reiterating the idea that your relationship is in a point of transformation. So it's okay if you don't really know where things are headed, or you don't have a fully developed sense of what is going on right now, but you know that the foundation of your relationship is love. That is the most important thing, because that's really what's going to be the strength and the ability to get through something like this. Despite any differences that you may have. And I also feel that this card saying that when we awaken those around us. There's something here about recognizing that ability for us to, when we do our own spiritual work and when we make breakthroughs personally, there's always personal breakthroughs that are made for people around us. So this may help this other person as well. Let's see what this card is. And it says water, the overflow. So you have two elements again. And these are the elements that came through in the cards. So if you do perform any rituals, I would consider doing something with smoke for the element of air, or chanting, speaking, listening to certain frequencies. Those kind of things relate to air. And then on the other side of that, water can be a very literal, connection to the water in terms of bathing, cleansing, clearing energy. And also expressing emotion, because we cry when we do express deep emotions oftentimes. So it says water, the overflow. The being in the picture has many hands, and yet water falls through her fingers. It blesses her in the moments and touches her radiant skin and continues on its journey. Her heart is also overflowing with love. Her eyes are filled with tears. She gracefully allows what comes through to move her without control. Aligned with purpose, she is overjoyed to give from this limitless space, and she radiates so much light into the world. Give more from a place of overflow than obligation. Even when we think we have nothing to give, coming from a mindset of overflow creates more of what we want. Yes, especially if this is a connection where you feel that you have been having to put in a lot of effort. This is spirit reminding you that your guides are giving you the energy that it takes to work through any changes in this connection. Because I do feel like a lot of you are very committed to this connection. Even though there is some of the most challenging energies in this pile, there is a deep and profound commitment to each other that's going on. And so what these cards of air and water are showing is that these are two different ways that you both can embrace what's going on. There's something about acceptance that was brought through for both of these cards. So there's something about accepting that is really important at this time. Let's read the final card. And this is what the image looks like. Okay, and it says the violet flame. As we deepen our spiritual path, step out of illusory constructs, and become empowered beings, life presents more opportunities to grow than before. Your sensitivity will be heightening, so it may be harder to spend time in places with certain energies. Do you have a range of accessible go-to practices for recentering, cleansing your aura, and protecting your energy field? A routine for psychic fitness will keep your aura strong and resilient, your energy sovereign, and your vibration high, and help you to see through illusions that block or disorient. Bring the violent flame, I almost said the violent flame, oh my goodness. Bring the violet flame into your meditation and self-care practices for graceful rebalance. So that misspeaking, I actually feel, is relevant because I'm being called to, there's a certain type of conjure oil, I believe they're called. They're also sometimes called, different terms like hoodoo oils, things like that, but they can also just be pagan oils, just herbal based oils in general. Doesn't really matter what the origin of the practice is. But there's an oil that is a very popular one called the Fiery Wall of Protection. And I do feel like for a lot of you, it is important to keep your energy sovereign at this time. And what that means is self-generated. So not to be drawing energy from another person. This is going to keep you both energetically pure. So for sometimes when we get into deep, intimate relationships, we don't expect our own codependency from other relationships to bleed into the connection that we're currently in. But what I feel both of you are learning at this time is energetic sovereignty on some level. And so it's important for you to use both air and water to cleanse and protect your aura. And the violet flame is another type of meditation or visualization that will allow you to keep your aura and your psychic realm or the astral body protected and safe from any energies that you may be picking up on, either from your person who is involved in this connection or from other energies that are trying to get you to be influenced by their idea of what your relationship should be at this point. So yeah, the violet flame here, I feel like that fiery wall of protection oil could be really helpful for you, because it is kind of connected to that element of water being an oil. Yeah, but that is all I am seeing for you, group 3. I want to send so much love to you, so much gratitude to you as well, and gratitude to all other forces of the universe that did bring this reading together, especially for your spirit guides for coming through and supporting you so genuinely. Thank you so much for allowing me to channel for you today. I will see you in another reading, my friend, and I hope you have a blessed day. Bye.